the rave kind of music. That was a cool touch for the end credits.
I was up at Reggae on the River, and I was blown away by these guys with dreadlocks down to here that were playing electronic music, and I approached them afterward and said, look, I'm doing this film, and I think your music would fit in well.
The movie is quite the river of images, as somebody says in the movie.
Yeah. Center Meter.
Yeah. You attended the Trips Festival as a senior in high school.
Yeah, 2 nights of 3. Yeah.
And talk about what you were like before that. And
yeah, that'd be good.
Because you said that it was that you knew being there that it was something special. So
Yeah,
like,
you saw a picture at the end. That was Tom Donahue and Rachel Donahue and Tony Pig, and I was a young.
Here are some images of Ender Dragon from the web.
So I worked for Tom mailing out records when I was a preteen, and that morphed into doing all these shows on KMPX and KSAN. And then I was program director of KSFX after this, when I graduated college. But I had very progressive parents. In fact, my father was an official at the Longshoremen's Union.
is that building still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's at Jefferson and down at Fisherman's Wharf. And the reason they didn't do a lot of dances there is there was a hiring hall, and the 3 nights of the Trips Festival, they'd have to set it up and then take it all down. It became a hiring hall, and then they'd set it back up again, so it wasn't very practical to do concerts there. But yeah, I was into the scene, and as I said, my parents were very cool, and I actually got in free because my dad's pals were the longshoremen who were guarding the gates. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I knew that it was a shift. I tried to tell the story of the passing of the torch from the beats to the, maybe the beats was more of a literary thing, and the drugs were more downers, and the hippies were more psychedelic and music oriented. So that was the change that happened that night, because there were events there that more of the beat era and didn't go over as well as what Roland said they wanted to hear the Dead.
Was this kind of legitimate moment of the acid test becoming legitimate?
Well, there were a number of acid tests. As I said, there was one before it, Muir Beach.
Were there a lot of them, or?
There were about a half dozen.
Okay.
There was a famous one in Los Angeles. There was one in SF State. There was one at the Fillmore. There was this one. There was the one at Muir Beach. Muir Beach was chaotic because people could just walk up, and be part of it without really being invited or knowing that it was happening.
Did you ever meet Alan Watts?
Yeah, I interviewed Alan Watts. I did a documentary on Tibetans, and we interviewed Alan before we went over on his boat in Sausalito, Varda's boat, actually.
Is Nick Babb still around?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does, I don't know if he's doing it this year, but he's done a 4th of July picnic with all the remnants of the holiday.
Was he do it up in Oregon or something?
Yeah. Springfield, near the dairy that Kesey's brother ran. And it was funny, Huey Lewis used to, it was Nancy's Yogurt, and Huey used to be a distributor of Nancy's Yogurt before he was famous. But he was from out there as well. Spent time out there.
Question.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
So your parents, did they know where you were doing there?
Oh, sure. Yeah. They didn't, I don't think I told them or they knew about my
Your ice
LSD.
cream.
The ice cream.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was a funny story because I didn't know I was dosed. And, the next morning, because it was the Sunday that I had the ice cream, the next Monday morning, I used to take the J Church to Market and Church and then the M out to Lowell. And I was standing at the traffic island there and I was remembering, how did I get here? I was very disoriented for a day,
Oh, wow.
but made it through. Or at least I think I made it through.
Right.
But I had a lot of discussions with Kesey after the fact of whether I didn't think it was smart to dose people without their knowledge. And he thought everybody needed to get turned on, that would change the law. So, a little different.
Was he,
philosophy.
was he fun to hang out with, or did he wear you out?
He was a force of nature, yeah. The two guys that were like that were Owsley and him. They were very powerful guys that you listened more than you spoke.
Yeah. Is that correct?
Like Neil Cassidy, did you get to meet him, Neil Cassidy?
Yeah. But that was the whole beat thing of Kerouac and Cassidy. That was, I went to Neil Cassidy's wake at Limekiln Creek. I just happened to be down in Big Sur, and that went on. That was a very far out event.
Was Morningstar up near Nevada?
No, that was Olin Polly.
Yeah.
The dead.
Where was it?
Olin Polly was near Nevada. The Morningstar Ranch was out at let's see a moment here. What's the place that?
Willits?
No.
Emerald Triangle?
No, it was down at. I'll think of it.
Olin Poly's interesting. It's a state park now.
Yeah.
And the remnants of the mansion that the dead rented
Yeah.
is still there. Like it burned down. But it's,
Dan McCoy leased the place from San Francisco State,
right.
and his daughter did a documentary on it, which is was interesting. I just happened to drive back with Thomas and my wife one time from Santa Rosa where we were placed, and said, "Oh, I'll show you Olin Polly." And we went there, and all of a sudden, all these older, gray-haired ex-hippies were there. And they said, "Oh, you're here for the reunion?" And it was a reunion of the.
Wow.
And I asked them, "Well, why do you think it all dissolved?" Well, there was a death there, a kid that drowned.
Couple kids
pool.
down the pool, yeah.
And they said, well, really the reason was all these hangers-on would, while we were out working the fields, they would come and eat all the food before we had a chance to.
So what happens is Olin Poly gets rented by the dead for like a summer, not very long.
Yeah.
And they have parties and they
Yeah.
jam. There's great
Yeah.
videos, great pictures from Marshall.
Yeah.
Of that.
Oh, sure.
And then this guy takes it over and it becomes like a commune basically. And the dead move on and they all buy kind of rural houses after that, which is interesting.
Occidental is
Yeah.
where
But it's a real interesting place to visit. When I visited, it was empty, and
Yeah.
and you can kind of see like where they were all hanging out.
Yeah.
It's a cool place to visit.
yeah.
There's nothing there, but it's interesting to visit.
Morningstar was an Occidental.
Okay.
Okay.
Your son helped you with some of the interviews in the movie, right,
Yeah.
Tom?
What?
Can you speak about that experience? Like which ones were hard to deal with, or maybe, what do you recollect from that time?
Yeah, we went up to Babs for 4th of July, so a lot of those you can kind of see in the background. There's a 4th of July party happening. We were interviewing Mountain Girl, and yeah, it was a really cool experience getting to meet some of those people. Some people definitely still living in that moment of the 70s and 60s, yeah, very, very interesting to see.
Well, part of the reason to make it is I wanted it to resonate with his generation so they would understand. And that's been a thing that really has pleased me is a lot of university professors have ordered it and are showing it at universities where they're teaching counterculture.
Well, I think the connection between, beats, hippies, and then the engineers
Yeah.
is very interesting and something that I always felt was.
Well, Stewart Brand is definitely a character that had a major influence on what went on you can see from the film.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with his whole connection.
Is there anything you did different about the film?
No. No, you know, films are interesting. Films are never finished, they're just turned in.
Yeah. Sure.
And, no, this was time to turn it in. You know, you could always, there's maybe a couple more people I would have talked to.
Is there like a 5-hour cut somewhere in the archives?
No, I think this is about the right.
Can you talk a little bit about Peter Coyote doing the narration?
Yeah, you know, Peter was interesting. I knew him basically from back in the day, and then we stayed a bit connected, especially through the Buddhist thing. We'd go down to the Zen Center, my wife and I. We'd drop Thomas off at Camp Winter Rainbow, Wavy's camp, and then we'd go down to the Zen Center in Tassajara. And so I asked Peter if he would do it, and he said, you know, I've been burned. I've done a couple of things on the 60s, and they just turned out awful. I said, well, do me a favor, read my script. You ready? He said, it's the best thing I've read on the 60s. He did it without charge. Consummate pro, one take through it all.
Wow.
And was that early in his voiceover stuff?
No, he'd already done stuff for Burns.
Oh.
What year was that's
This was
07,
07,
so
08, yeah.
yeah, he had already been pretty well known.
He is like the guy, you hear his voice.
Oh. Yeah, I was at an event and he asked the question and I said, oh, I should have recognized that voice. He says, yeah, did it make you want to go out and buy an iPhone? Because he did the Apple commercials.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Peter's quite a guy.
Yeah, he's a local yokel, for sure. I got a picture of him on a big chopper with really long hair down here. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, he was part of
The Diggers.
the Diggers, right? He was part of the Diggers. And wasn't he in the mime troupe a little bit too?
Yeah, he was around then as well. And yeah, it was, I used to see the mime troupe. I grew up a block from Dolores Park, and they always debuted their shows there. And I had a crush on Sandra Archer, and this is about 13 or so. She's the one with the low-cut dress in the mime troupe scene, but she was quite the looker.
I like the connection between the tech world and the LSD and all that stuff, just a new way of seeing things and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, Stewart put that pretty succinctly, that they were like rock stars staying up all night.
Right.
Except they didn't bounce off of this one.
I got to meet Wozniak and talk with him a little bit one time. He talked about starting Apple and not knowing what they were doing and having no money and like just working away, trying to come up with the code for Red. And I thought, what, you gotta buy it like it's a copyright? I'm thinking to myself, and all of a sudden it dawns on me, this is the guy who put color in computers, and that's why I love it. I mean, it's just, he didn't have a computer science degree, but he had an open mind and an imagination, you know.
Well, any more questions? We have a little bit of time. You have a question?
Yeah, so as a first-hand participant, could you maybe share with us like your most vivid recollections of the 2 nights that you were there?
Well, there are a couple of naked women. There was, Stewart was exactly right. It was a mind blow to see the trampoline act with the strobe. I tried to capture, but you didn't really capture, because there he'd be there, and he'd be there, and he'd be there. It was pretty amazing. And of course, you know, the combination of the music and the lights. You know, that's what I first thought when I was dosed. I thought, well, the music and the lights are just disorienting.
The dead sets were good.
No.
Well, I love that idea, you know, he talks.
The stage was not much higher than this, and so I stood in front, and Jerry broke a guitar string and was so screwed up, or so stoned on acid, he didn't know what to do, and Bill Graham came over and helped him restring the guitar. So that was the first time Bill had met Jerry. But you know, it was that sort of event where the audience was as interesting as what was going on stage. I saw the Dead numerous times. As a matter of fact, I was at Autumn Records when they came to audition for Tom Donahue. And after they left, Tom turned to Bob Mitchell's part and said, "Not commercial enough." That's right. But you know, I like the Dead a lot more with Pigpen. And, when he died, a little of the soul was taken out. When Jerry died, it got a lot less. And now with Bobby gone, there's really nothing to be called the Dead anymore. The name is owned by John Mayer now, and Irv Azoff, his manager.
Yeah, they just changed their name to the Grateful Dead. I mean, like 2 months before, it was in November of '65.
Yeah, they were the Warlocks in November. That's when it changed. So anyhow, I did a couple of other documentaries. This is the album cover one, and it has interviews with Yoko and I was the first one to track down Mary Orr Goshen, who was the topless 13-year-old girl on the Blind Faith cover. She's in there. And then I also did one on the 50s musician named Korla, who was on TV here. And actually was African American, but portrayed himself as a Indian, East Indian, so he could join the Union and be on TV, which he wouldn't if he was black. So I have those for sale as well.
What draws you to make films like about music and the arts and performers, and like what do you think?
Well, I have a big record collection, poster collection. I've been immersed in that since I was a teenager. And I think, you know, it's something I know about, and I think when you do films, you choose a subject that you know about, you kind of get started. But I do what interests me. I don't think about, oh, is this going to be a success or not. If it's interesting to me, I think it might be interesting to a few other people.
So what effect the festival and LSD had on you? Because you were the youngest. You worked at the radio, right? At 21, you got hired at Lynnrd.
Well, I worked part-time
Yeah.
all through school,
Yeah.
junior high and high school. And then
So was that somehow linked to this whole experience in a way you were?
yeah, I kind of found a path early, you know. I started collecting records, and my introduction to Tom Donahue was I went down to pick up some records that we'd won on Name and Claim It. And I saw this big stack of records that the secretary was mailing out to other winners. I said, oh, if I help you stuff the envelopes, could I get some? That became a weekly gig, and Tom took a liking to me, and I did similar things at Autumn Records and Tempo Records.
Tell them who Tom Donahue was. Do you know who Tom Donahue is? Tell them who
Yeah, Tom started, well, he was a top 40 disc jockey. And then he started KMPX as the first underground station, commercial underground station. And then he started Autumn Records, which had the Beau Brummels and Sly. And he also had Tempo Productions, which programmed about 50 or 60 stations all through the Northwest and California. And that's where I mailed records out to.
And he produced shows, didn't he, too? Did he produce shows?
Oh yeah, he did the Beatles shows. He did the last Beatles show at Candlestick Park, and did the one before that at Cow Palace. And he did these shows with all the top 40 acts, and I worked at those shows as well.
We miss radio.
Do you think at this point should LSD be legal, or should it just be used in like psychiatric, medical ways
Well, I
only?
think, I think, you know, under certain circumstances, sure. Yeah, it certainly shouldn't be criminal.
In the movie, there's some discussion like spirituality, drugs, you know, like the ways that human beings get to these.
Well, that's what happened to a lot of people. You know, we discovered Eastern mysticism as a way of sort of getting to the same kind of place without having to do with the drugs or any of the harmful effects. So many people turn to mysticism and spiritualism after having drug experiences.
I can say they're not as it's not as immediate.
How do you get the flashbacks? Did you really do it?
Yeah.
I wish I would get
It's a
the
great
flashbacks.
rate.
Yeah.
It's great.
LSD is not a light drug, it's a very, very heavy drug.
Well,
You-
it's,
you
it's
try to-
powerful, yeah,
Right, but it is a way to feel, to strip away all your ego and to be
yeah, and I think some people can handle it, and some people need guidance.
absolute.
You could easily, if you were in this city, walk around here, you could easily walk out in front of a car thinking it's a beautiful or something like that.
Well, yeah, maybe. That's not my experience.
Can you tell us about the highs and lows of it, since it sounds like you...
I just found it to be very useful.
Yeah, and you said like stripping away the ego, like what are you think better ways to do that, to strip away the ego besides LSD or mysticism or spirituality? Are there just other ways to do it, or is that kind of the
Well, you
options?
can do it through different forms of therapy. You know, I think, you know, ayahuasca is an interesting drug that people have rediscovered, or Western people have discovered, and that seems to have a profound effect on people, but not everybody can handle it.
You can buy psilocybin at the gas station now. So,
Really?
You know, they put them in chocolate bars. It's decriminalized in Oakland.
Yeah, there's a church of the.
Yeah, there is a church that you can sign up, and it's a safe holy sacrament.
It's really interesting. Dispensary for mushrooms.
Well, thanks for sticking around. If anybody wants to purchase these, I'll
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Eric.
give you a deal on Microsoft.
Thanks for all your stories, and
Yeah, and thank you for hosting us.
For sure.
Yeah.
thanks to Inga
Fun.
behind the scenes.
Inga.
Everybody for coming. We still got some time if you want to hang out, and have a lovely rest of the weekend. Safe travels. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, sir.
How much are your copies?
20 for this, and if you want to buy other ones, I'll give you a break.
I get enough cash, I take cash.
Yeah.
That's that.